Hi, Tom Cole, the coach for Buckeye Cable and BCSN, and welcome in to another edition of Sports Flash. And I have here two wonderful gentlemen from the Toledo Club, Mr. Mike Goetz, longtime friend and St. John's classmate back in
1969.
69, but started in 65.
65, correct.
But we're not aging, Mike,
No.
so we won't get into that. And Greg Kopan. Greg, we'll start with you. We want to talk about the Toledo Club. We want to talk about squash. It's a sport that BCSN is into new sports. We do 58 different sports on our network, Greg, and we'd like to eventually get squash on our network, and maybe we can work something out with the Toledo Club. You had a great event there. Give us a little flavor and feel for what went on in the Toledo Club with the squash tournament.
Well, the squash tournament brings in players from actually all over North America. So it's not just a Toledo or not even just a Midwestern tournament. So we get some pros and we get amateurs who travel. There's a whole crew of squash players that travel across the country in season. And ours is a tournament that we've had for a number of years. So we get a number of people throughout the country, and a lot of Canada come down from Canada also.
And Mike, we were chatting off air, so let's get it on air. Some of the differences, because you and I were racquetball players at one time, and I thought, pretty similar. I'm not that smart. I figured this is a pretty similar sport, but show us the differences, because there are a lot of differences between racquetball and squash.
Well, the balls, two different size balls. We have a smaller ball. It's soft. It's black. The racket sizes are different size rackets altogether. The court is a little more restrictive because you cannot use the same open court that you do in a racquetball, where the ceiling is in play, the entire back wall is in play. So we have lines drawn throughout the courts that keep the ball in play. Anything outside of that is out of court, or the ball play stops. But then in the front wall, we also have a tin, as we call it, that's about 17 inches off the floor, which is also out of bounds, which is totally contrary to what the racquetball is.
Well, the thing, Mike, about racquetball that I never really liked is some of these people you'd play against would get so proficient, Greg, at hitting that floor bottom shot that is unreturnable. Right. So once they went there, you had no chance to return it, and the point was over, and that was it. Squash is a little different. They're not getting those kind of kill shots, and you have a better opportunity to return, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're constantly watching the guy you're playing with, or whoever your competitor is, and watching where he's hitting the ball, and it's a little game of wits. You want to hit the ball where your competitor is not, and if you got a fast guy you're playing, they're going to get to the shots.
Greg, you were a basketball player at Wittenberg and an athlete. How would you typify? I know you're not playing squash now. You got that Joe Namath knee situation going on, but you look great. You just got a bum knee. That's all. But how would you describe the workout that you get with squash as compared to? Because I heard you guys talking in the green room about that, and I was kind of interested. Talk about the workout with squash.
Probably the best workout, if you're proficient in the game, it's the best workout you can get in a short time. Most squash matches are about 45 minutes to an hour, and you're probably burning more calories than in any other sport that you could play. Yeah,
that's pretty interesting. Mike, long time, I want to say kudos to you, 28 years on the police force, serving our community, and thank you so much for that dedication and that service. But you were telling me numbers of the Toledo Club, 700 some members, and 250 are squash players. That's a pretty good ratio.
Correct. Yeah, we have 250 people that play squash. They may not be active in our league, but they're constantly at the club, getting a court, playing with somebody. And it's from guys that are 70 plus years old on down to our junior program, which I think John starts them out in 10, 12 years old. They're starting to hit the ball around.
Very good. And Greg, on the way out, I want to talk about a very prominent member that you have on your squash club. You were a former champion, a city champion, and a champion there at the Toledo Club. John Seidel. Tell us a little bit about John Seidel.
John Seidel is our head squash pro. We hired him from the Baltimore Country Club in 1988. Young guy at the time, and just a very, very personable guy and great squash player. And he's been a great teacher. That program has had solid 250 players since 1988 when he got here, and it's continued to grow. And he works with everybody from the juniors all the way up to literally 70, 75-year-old players who are still taking lessons from him, and does a great job.
And I didn't believe, Greg, you threw out a number to me, and I make sure I've got it right, but I This is the 89th season at the historic Toledo Club that you're playing squash. Is that right?
It is. The squash courts were built in 1926 as an add-on to that building.
Was Goetz playing then?
1950.
I kind of think he might be.
I
I'm not
was
sure,
just
but
sticking in
yeah. But 89
yeah.
years.
Yeah, 1926 was the first year, the first squash champion there, and this year was the 89th.
Well, guys, on behalf of Buckeye Cable and BCSN, it's an honor to have both of you here. It's an honor to talk about the historic Toledo Club. Keep up the great work, guys. We appreciate it.
Pleasure.
And hopefully we'll be doing a BCSN match,
great.
a squash at the Toledo Club.
Love
Thanks
to
so
have you.
much, guys.
Thank you, Tom.
Tom Cole, the coach for Buckeye Cable and BCSN.